to no recipe required. We're in the heart of summer, and one of my favorite things to do in the summer is ribs. All kinds of ribs, baby back ribs, beef ribs. What we're going to do tonight is a country style rib. This is actually a recipe my dad used to do when we were kids. I loved it, or a version of his recipe. I'm going to use 3 techniques, 1, 2, 3 cooking techniques. We're going to sear these ribs off, then we're going to bake them, essentially braise them in the oven, and we're going to finish them off on the grill to get that kind of smoky char barbecue flavor. They are so tender, so juicy, succulent. You are absolutely going to love them, and you know what? They're really easy to make. There's not a whole lot of tending and turning and all that kind of stuff. Most of the work is just done in the oven. Really simple to do. Let's go ahead and get to it. Okay guys, so we've got our country ribs here. We need to season them with salt and pepper at a minimum. And if you want, I'm going to come back and do a little bit of spice rub on them. You know, you can make your own, but there's so many out there, so many good ones. You know, I think it's worth it to just invest in one. Give them a good coat, let them sit for, you know, frankly up to a day without the salt, with just the rub. With the salt, I would let them go for, 20 minutes or so before we're going to sear them off. Make sure you got that rub kind of on all sides so it's well seasoned. Okay, so our rub has sat on our pork now for 15, 20 minutes or so. Again, if it's just the rub, go longer. A little bit of oil in our pan, and I'm going to lay the ribs down. If they got a fattier side, I would go with the fattier side. These ones look relatively even. And normally I go kind of super high heat, but because the rubs tend to have some sugar in it, I'm down to kind of a medium. You still want to hear some of that sizzle. I'm going to leave them alone, let them sear on this side, flip them. I'm going to sear them on all sides until they are nicely golden brown. Okay, so after about 5 minutes per side, our ribs are going to be nicely seared all around. I'm going to take them out of the pan, just set them off on a tray like this, no worries at all. And then we're going to deglaze the pan and get up all that goodness. I've got some red wine here. I'm using Pinot Noir, but use whatever you want. And we're going to reduce this wine by half. Then we'll come back and add some more stuff. Okay, so we got our wine reduced now. We're going to make our braising liquid with some more ingredients. I've got apple juice here. We're going to add the apple juice in there. How much apple juice? This is 8 ounces of apple juice. We're going to add that whole thing in there. And then we're going to cut the wine and the apple juice with a little bit of chicken stock. I like the low sodium version here. You're kind of looking for enough liquid to cover the ribs by about 3/4. For aromatics, this is going to bring more flavor in there. I've got some garlic cloves here that I just lightly crushed, some carrots, some onions, and we're just going to throw that in. A little bit of sweetness, a couple tablespoons of honey from the bear, of course. A little bit of Worcestershire sauce, just again a little dash there, and then another little bit of acid here. That was balsamic vinegar that I like to throw in. Then another layer of flavor, herbs. I'm using rosemary here. It's one of my favorites. You can certainly do the same thing with thyme. You just want to grab it, kind of break it up, toss it in there, and then we're going to go ahead with our country ribs, our pork ribs here, and just kind of move them oozing down into the pot. Get them down, kind of buried into all this goodness in there with all that braising liquid, the vegetables, the herbs in there. And like I said, you want them covered kind of 3/4, 4/5 of the way there. You don't want them submerged, really. And then we're going to go ahead and put the lid on this baby, throw it into an oven that is like 250, 275 for about 3 hours. All right, so let's check out our ribs. They've been going for about 3 hours, low temperature, and you should see, like I can just pull it apart, so nice and soft. The way I like to do them is just let them sit right there in the juice, kind of rest in the juice for probably 20 minutes or so. Then we can sear them off, get a nice little crust on the outside before we eat these bad boys. Okay guys, so we got our ribs here. I let them rest. You can still see they're super tender. You could go eat them like this, or you could finish them off on the grill, which is what I'm going to do. Also, while the grill heats up, I took that braising liquid that we did here, just drained the fat off, and I'm reducing this down. Add a little bit of barbecue sauce to here, spike it up. It's going to be an absolutely awesome barbecue sauce for us. All right, guys. So getting this extra sear on the ribs, I think is absolutely spectacular. You don't have to do it. You could also, if it's raining, if it's winter or whatever, you could do this on the, just in a pan as well, or even under the broiler. I'm going to use pretty low heat. We're going to turn this kind of all the way down to low, medium, low. It's going to go fast too. You don't want to walk, well, you can walk away, but it's probably going to take about 2 minutes or so. Then we'll flip them. Then we'll start basting them a little bit with some barbecue sauce. All right, it's been about 2 minutes or so. Let's check them out. They're so gentle, or so tender rather. You can see I'm getting some grill marks there. Just move them gently, gently, gently. You may also want to, you can always grab a spatula, and that will help as well. Go on that side. We'll do one more flip. And then this is the barbecue sauce that, I just combined a little bit of store-bought with the reduced braising liquid. Throw that on there. These are not going to take long at all, and that sauce is going to kind of bake in. I'm just going to let these go for another, 3 or 4 minutes, and then we'll take them off and start chowing down. All right, so I zoomed in a little bit so you could see these guys. That's exactly what we're looking for. Just that little bit of, bubbliness. Crystallizes the fat on the outside. It's going to make an absolutely perfect rib. I'm going to do one more coat of sauce on this side. Let it go 3 minutes, and then we'll be done. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do up our ribs here. I got a little bit of homemade, easy mac and cheese. And we'll do our ribs. Maybe we'll do 2 of these delicious little ribs there. Maybe a little drizzle of sauce right over the top. I should really throw something green on the plate, but you know what? My wife's not here, so she's not going to give me any grief for it. All right, guys, these are beautiful country-style pork ribs. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required. All right, I hope you love these country-style baked and grilled ribs. They're one of my all-time favorites. They are so yummy, yummy, delicious. If you want this mac and cheese recipe that I did with the ribs, go ahead, click the link right here. My mac and cheese is spectacular. And if you like these are pork country ribs. Very similar technique I do with short ribs. They are to die for. You're gonna absolutely love them. Here's another link to that, and don't forget to subscribe because I got new videos coming out every week, and you don't want to miss them. I'll see you next time on No Recipe Required.